Hello and welcome to the I Love You Bet podcast. I'm Heather and this is my sister,
Rian. Each week we will revisit relics of our childhoods using our multiple master's degrees
to critically evaluate the crap that consumed our misspent youth. So join us,
sisters, latchkey kids, cuspers, and lazy feminists as we look back at our past to say, I love you, but...
So I'm going to tell you how my time was wasted on me just within the last 24 hours.
Oh, hi. Coming in hot today.
I drove to Dallas after having a nightmare about how I was trying to leave a party to get to Dallas, even though I didn't want to go to Dallas. And every time I tried to leave the party, somebody would stop me. And then I would be like, this is more fun. I don't want to go to Dallas. But I went, took my fucking bathing suit. We had to book this trip to Halifax that I really don't want to do, but he's paying me to go with him. So I'm going with him. Had to check out his meds, had to check out his food, found the $1,000 rebate check that he managed to hide from himself that I've been worried about for months. Thankfully found that, got that deposited. Thank you, Chase, for having remote deposit. So we didn't even have to leave the house yesterday, which is great because I really want to go swim, right? Well, we had ordered a sail to replace the sail in the side yard that is astroturf that gets very hot when it has the sun on it, which is where his dog, the only place his dog is allowed to hang out, right? Apparently, the one that I ordered didn't work, so he went and ordered one on his own. It has been sitting for months, and it has not been put up, but he's going to do it. He's going to do it. I get out there, and he's like, well, it's bigger. And I'm like, okay, well, let's think about this. If it's bigger, we're going to have to move hardware. What are we going to need to move hardware? We're going to need a drill. Do you have a drill? I think so. Okay, let's find your drill. So we find his drill. We find some drill bits just in case it's not the right drill bit. And then I'm looking at the fucking thing. It's like a plug-in. So I'm like, okay, do you have an extension cord? Oh, yeah, I should have an extension cord. So we find the extension cord. We unfurl this fucking thing. It is as big as the entire backyard, the length. The width is too wide. And I'm not about to motherfucking sew some motherfucking grommets in this motherfucking bullshit. Because he didn't bother to measure anything or ask me or whatever. He just...
It's just so sad because he was an architect.
I know. We haven't got the part that made me mad yet.
Oh, good Lord.
So I'm like, okay. So then we put it all together. I'm like, okay, so I'm like, let's go to Wayfair and see if we can send it back. Well, they don't have an option for my uncle has Alzheimer's and can't deal with his shit. So none of the options work. I'm like, well, it's not the wrong color. And it is what we ordered and it isn't defective. And so I'm like, whatever, we'll try to sell it on Facebook Marketplace. It'll end up in the estate sale, what the fuck ever. So I'm like, okay, let's order one that will work, right? So then we do that. And then we have to sit down and I try to call the hotel to make the arrangements. Well, then I stupidly realized I somehow was talking to some third party bullshit thing for the hotel, which was just a total waste of time. I thought I had to have his passport to order from Air Canada. For some reason, Air Canada does not care that we are Americans coming to them and did not want our passport information, which every single time I bought an international ticket on American, they always want all your passport information right then. So then I'm like, well, that
is basically America. Who cares?
So I took a picture of his passport in case at some point Air Canada is like, oh, shit, you're from Texas. We need your fucking passport number. So, or, however the Canadians say it all nice and shit. So finally, we get in the goddamn pool. This motherfucker takes half an hour to get into the pool. Like, he was going in, he was coming out, he was putting the life jacket on Sky. The life jacket didn't fit on Sky because all Sky does is eat treats, so he's a fat fucker. So then I have to fix the life jacket so it'll fit on Sky. The whole time I'm in the pool with my hat on, enjoying my life, right? Because this motherfucker will not leave his house because of his goddamn pool, right? That's the number one. I have to be in my house because of the pool. 85 degrees in the pool, 99 degrees outside. Guess whose fat happy ass is in that pool? Me, this heifer right here.
All the times we've been to swim there, I've never once seen him get in the pool.
Correct. But I just thought maybe it was weird. I didn't know he had a whole Alzheimer's thing going on. This shit's been going on forever, apparently. So he's coming, he's going. Finally puts his goddamn swimsuit on. And then I'm like, bring your Bluetooth speaker out here. Hit play on your iPad. Pick up the speaker, bring it out. I have to bring the whole thing. No, you do not. It is a Bluetooth speaker. Bring the speaker. He brings the speaker. He gets himself something to drink. He finally gets in the pool. Then he gets back out for some other reason. We're in the pool for about 15, 20 minutes. I'm showing him some of the exercises I do. And he's like, well, this is just really nice. I should get in the pool every day. Yes, motherfucker, you should get in your goddamn pool. That is the number one reason you will not move to assisted living, to make my life easier every goddamn day, right? So we get out of the pool and we make a schedule, because he has to have a colonoscopy on Tuesday at 11 a.m., which means we have to split the dose unless we want him to wake up and stay awake for a really long time, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So I go over it. Dose 1, dose 2. I make him a goddamn schedule. Monday, breakfast, normal with pills. Monday, lunch, normal with pills. Monday, afternoon, normal with pills. Monday, dinner, 6 p.m. with pills and wine. 7 p.m. Dose 1, because you have to have dose 1 12 hours before dose 2. And you have to have pills 1 hour before or 1 hour after taking the dose. And so I had to work between the 2 days to figure out when he should take these fucking doses. So then the next day, 8 a.m., dose 2, water. And I write after dinner, no more food, no more wine. The next morning, no food, only water. 9 a.m.
No pills.
Take your pills, because it's an hour after he's had dose 2.
Okay.
Take your pills, drink the water, drink lots of water. 10:15 a.m., Marissa arrives to take you to the appointment. 11 a.m., appointment. Noon, or whenever after the appointment, food, margarita, pills, whatever you want. Marissa just fucking texted me and said he already took his first dose. And he kept trying to give me shit because I couldn't be there for him to do this. And I'm like, I am not a goddamn nurse. I am not going to live my entire life because you can't follow a fucking schedule that. Ugh.
And you absolutely refuse to go live somewhere where people are paid to help you do this.
And they would make sure that you don't do this dumb motherfucking shit.
Yeah.
And so I just had to literally text him, and I put in all caps, "Hey, Eddie, sweetie," all caps, "you cannot eat any food until your colonoscopy since you took your first dose. Marissa will come and y'all can go pick up clear Gatorade so that you don't pass out before tomorrow at 11. Anyway, how'd you waste time this week?
I don't know that I have anything that compares to that. Watched a boring ass movie
Sorry about that.
that we're going to talk about here in a minute.
Did you watch the dessert movie that I recommended?
No, I didn't watch that. So
That's your fucking problem.
What did I watch? I watched a lot of stuff this week. Oh, I watched that movie, The Judge, I was telling you about. That was good. When I had missed. I don't remember. I watched something else, but yesterday, Elliot wanted to go swim, and I knew there were storms coming, like bad storms. So I was like, well, I have to mow the lawn. So before we can go swim, I have to mow the front lawn, and then we'll see what's going on with the weather. And so I mowed the front lawn, and it meant I hadn't mowed it in 2 weeks. So I had to mow it twice. So I did the spinning wheel thing, and then I did the gas mower. And he did pretty good entertaining himself while I did that. And I was like, here, why don't you go ahead and go put your bathing suit on? And he did great. Get some towels, get everything together while I finish up. And so it was almost noon, and it was getting a little bit darker. And the forecast was saying it was going to hit us at 12:30. I was like, all right, friend, here's the thing. We can go, but we may not be able to swim for very long before they tell us to get out, and because we can't swim when there's lightning, and then we'll just have to leave. And I was like, so we can go. I think it's smarter to not. But if you want to get all our stuff on and go and, give it a try, we can do that. And so he just wanted to go. I said, okay. Well, normally we go to the one that's out in Hamburg, which is probably a 10, maybe a 15-minute drive. I was because that one has more fun things for him. He can walk around in the pool. It's more kid friendly than the one close to us, which is just lanes.
Yeah.
And so we're back in the drive. I said, okay, I have one more suggestion. I really think that we should go to the closer one so that we can just get there, because it's a 5-minute drive, to get in and get into the water as soon as possible in case the thunderstorm and the lightning comes and we have to get out. And he agreed, to his credit. So without anything. I was like, okay. So we went and we swam in like I think we swam for about 30 or 40 minutes, and then he was like, okay, I'm cold, I'm bored, I'm done. Let's go get ice cream. I was like, okay. And I mean, that little fucker. I mean, we'd been out of the pool for 5 minutes when they blew the whistle and was like, all right, everybody out. And then they like ended up closing for the rest of the day because they were like, well, it's never going to stop thunderstorming before we close at 6 anyways.
Yeah.
So we changed because I brought dry clothes for him. We changed and he wanted to go to Dairy Queen. And I was like, well, I don't want to cook food for you, but I'm hungry, so let's go to Dairy Queen. And then it's like the storm is rolling in, and so I'm sitting here like, are we gonna die because it's Dairy Queen? Like, am I gonna die eating a blizzard? Like, and like we're driving, and like my irrational like fear of extreme worst case scenario has gotten much better.
Okay.
In the last 6 months and year since I've started taking medication for my ADHD, but it's still there sometimes. At least it'll like kind of pop forward, and then I can do like shut up, and but like at one point we're like driving and I was just like, Mommy, I love you, and I was like, oh my god, we're gonna
die. My child said he loves me, we're gonna die.
And then like torrential rain, and he wasn't whining, he wasn't crying, he was like he was like he knew what was happening, and I was just like, please just let me get home. Like, I don't want to die because I can't say no to my child wanting ice cream and myself wanting ice cream. And I'm so hungry.
Yeah.
Like, I know the intelligent thing would do to be like, sorry, kid, we just got to go home. But it was fine. We got home. It was great. It was fine. Everything was fine. So, yeah. So that was one way we wasted time, like risking death to get ice cream.
Which reminds me, I really shouldn't complain about jack shit because 30 miles up the road, we have people whose entire lives have been destroyed by recent tornadoes that were very, very bad. And also Gaza and Ukraine and everywhere else that's terrible in the entire world. But you know what?
It's all relative.
Also,
okay? Just because it's a lot worse in other places doesn't mean that you can't be frustrated by your situation. So
he texted back, okay.
Yeah, like it's okay to,
I
be
said,
mad.
You could also have chicken broth for dinner, but it can't have any chunks of anything in it. Cannot deal. Like, I can't. I'm so tired.
I mean, at a certain point, y'all are just gonna have to. I mean, I'll help too, but it's just gonna be you're just gonna have to force it.
Yeah, I mean, I figured we could at least get one more good summer out of the pool. I mean, we might as well. Like, it's there. I like it too. And I mean, he keeps getting mad about Marissa, and I'm like, okay, like if it's not her, it's going to be a stranger. And you think you're going to like a stranger? Like, you're not. He was bitching about she only wants to go to these expensive places. So I texted her and I was like, hey, Eddie's really budget conscious right now, blah, blah, blah. And she says to me, hold on, this is great. I've mentioned different places. I even mentioned Torchy's last week. He wasn't interested. So then I said, okay, how about Smoky Rose? So we did. Drinks were less. Our sweet guy has good taste, which tends to be expensive. We even went to Chiloso, which I thought would be less. One order of shrimp tacos and one margarita was $37. I've shared his espresso martini are 17 to 20. Only Toulouse was 15, so I bring this up. I've mentioned Gloria a few times because margaritas are only $7 to $9, also sharing. I will definitely keep looking. Everything is so expensive. And yes, I'll encourage staying home more and the pool.
I know, it's funny. It's like
I am hungry, but I haven't eaten any food until a colonoscopy is complete. Yeah, it would have been better.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Can I just say I wish you'd followed the schedule?
No.
Why?
I mean, you can, but it doesn't make any difference.
Well, I just because this is like to everybody. This is like the whole group.
Oh, okay.
Said, yeah, I wish you'd follow the schedule. I love you. Anyway, so I wouldn't ask you about what you remember about Maurice because I'm assuming you've never seen Maurice from 1987.
No, I'd never seen it. And if I had, I would have told you to fuck off when you'd ask me to watch it again.
So all I remember about it, because I watched it sometime in my 20s when I was trying to be completist about queer film. It's like I'm going to see every queer film. So I watched Morris finally, and then I was
I
like,
then there weren't nearly as many.
no, there weren't as many, and they weren't as good. Most of them were quite
Jesus
sad.
God.
And yes, this is slow even for a Merchant Ivory film. I remember most
Like,
of them
I
being
feel like
bored.
they should call it Bored Straight.
I
Like,
feel like we should have actually gotten our first
like,
nod.
oh, you think you might be gay? Here, watch this movie. You'll be so bored that you'll be straight.
Uh, I feel like we should have invited our friend John Coleman, who actually wrote a dissertation that is adjacent to this subject, and he might find a way to bore everyone
Adjacent,
straight.
why?
No,
Because it's set in England?
well, no, because
I mean, I guess the
he wrote about gay for pay in the 19th century. So
well, I heard
yeah,
about the Rent Boys.
yeah, the Rent Boys, most of whom were gay for pay, they weren't gay.
Well, no, I know. Well,
So
how was it adjacent? Who was gay for pay in this movie?
the soldier who
Oh, well, but like
got the
he like
Viscount
was
arrested.
entrapping that guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
but
he
there
was
were guys that did that. The reason he took that bet was because he didn't think he was going to get arrested. He thought he was basically hiring a guy out, like because you
yeah.
can tell he's done it before. It's not like he just. Oh, this is my first time in a bar mixing with soldiers, trying to hold penny farthings between their teeth or whatever the fuck.
I loved how in the court case, I hope you didn't want to go in any kind of order,
No,
but
it's
since we're
fine.
talking about that, because that guy was like a pompous motherfucker. Like
Yeah.
I did not feel bad for him for like I mean, I guess a little bit, but whatever. But I love that in the court case, it was like not just are you, whatever crimes of humanity or crimes of decency, but it was like, what did they say?
He took advantage of.
Advantage of people mentally yeah, taking advantage of intellectual inferiors.
Yeah.
Hey, you took advantage of stupid people.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Did he? I'm pretty
Something
sure
so.
Soldier Boy played the shit out of him. Like,
I don't think he did at all. Like, yeah, it's just like
I am very certain that was intentional, that Forrester wrote that way on purpose, because that comes up again with the gamekeeper,
yeah.
like Morris feels like, oh, am I taking advantage of him because he's not that smart? And I'm like, this kid is street smart as shit. Like, he's ready to sue you. Like, holy shit.
This movie was like, it's so funny because like at least Hugh Grant, I don't know if that other guy was ever in anything. I didn't recognize it, but Hugh Grant and Rupert Graves became such great actors.
Yes.
And yet in this, like Hugh Grant was pretty good. But it's like, I don't know if this is bad acting or bad directing or what, but
I
like
think they were trying to take his energy and they didn't. His energy was good, but it just didn't fit right. It just didn't. Everything was just a little bit off,
it was all very forced.
Yes, and part of that is the source material for sure. I think. I mean, this is an old ass book.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. I would say that everything that they do is very mannered, which it would have been. I mean, it absolutely would have been.
Yeah, no, I know. But yeah, it just, there's no, 'cause I'm thinking about it in terms of the reason we watched this, because you were talking about like Bridgerton and the sexiness of
Yes.
Bridgerton.
Right.
And this was not at all sexy.
No, but
Like
if
nothing.
you look at like all of the choices that we had, like I don't know about the French Lieutenant's woman and I don't know about Camilla. Maybe they are, but I've seen all the rest of that stuff. And it's really not like Dangerous Liaisons kind of, but those people are so terrible that you like don't want them to hook up. Like you don't have that. Like I would even say, like to me, oh God, what's it called? Sorry, it's the Edith Wharton one that Scorsese directed with Daniel Day-Lewis and Michelle Pfeiffer, the Age of Innocence. Edith, yeah. They're like they barely ever touch. Like he like touches her hand at one point, and like to me, that whole movie is sexier than this. Like,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
And I don't think Merchant and Ivory know what to do with actual sex because there's actual sex in this, but not really. And not that they could really even show it, even though the movie's unrated. So they probably could have done whatever they wanted. Like, I feel like he did A Room with a View. And then the studio, like basically the BBC or whoever was like, okay, fine, you can make your little passion project. And sadly for him, that was Morris. Like,
there was no passion in it. There was no passion in the passion project.
I just feel so bad because it's like literally like he's like, okay, I got this dude drawing out on the beach a vagina for me to try to explain how this
weird start.
And then I don't even know, was it the vulva is God's wondrous purpose, or was it that men and women having sex together is God's wondrous purpose?
I think creation was God's wondrous purpose, was men and women having sex to make new babies and like the carrying on of life and creation.
Well, I hoped it was the vulva because I was hoping that someone could tell all of these conservative assholes that God's wondrous purpose is the vulva. Maybe they would calm down a little bit. And then, then he goes to Cambridge and he's hanging out with all these rich fucks. And he's sort of, he didn't grow up like privileged like them. I mean, they got money. They're merchant class.
He's like middle class.
Yeah. And then like Hugh Grant is like, I love you. He's like, oh, wait, no. Oh, shit, no. All these feelings I've had my whole life, I feel them. And then he is like the little gay convert that goes like way over. Like, he goes, right? Like, he's flying his pride flag out there. It's like
the little gay engine that did.
And then Hugh Grant's like, oh, no, I got to get married to a chick. Like,
he's totally. Like, I don't want to go to jail.
And I mean, who could blame him? But it's like, God damn, like, dude, you took this little boy who was like going to be fine. He was going to be fine. He was just going to live repressed and be fine. And made him fall in love with you. And then you're like, no, I'm going to go to Greece and fall in love with an uptight woman. Like, holy shit.
Like a totally repressed uptight woman. Did you see this where he's like changing and she's like averting her eye? I'm like, y'all are married.
No. I felt like she was trying to sneak a peek, not averting her eyes. Because if you think about it, he's not attracted to women.
Yeah.
He's not, right? I mean, he's just decided that he needs to be normal and go on with life and whatever. So you can imagine that sex between them is not necessarily a very passionate thing, right? Like, they're probably keeping the clothes on and the lights off and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that's like.
No, and during that part, I was just thinking how terrible it was when women only had the option of marriage, like if your only way to get out was to marry. And it's like, you go from your dad, who you're born to, you can't help how he is.
Be a prostitute.
Right, be a prostitute. And then you've got, you go to a husband and hope for the best. And even if he's a nice guy like Hugh Grant, who is a nice guy and is very charming and whatever, like, he's still like it is not a Bridgerton husband. Like, this man is not gonna open up your whole new world of like, oh shit. Yes, my vulva is God's wondrous purpose.
It did make me think that I hope that, I don't know if it'll, I know that Shonda Land has taken some liberties with these books. And I hope it would be really nice if they just flipped the script and made one of them queer, because none of the books are.
There is pressure everywhere for her to do it, and I think she will.
Like, do little, what's her name? The sister, Eloise.
Yeah, she'd be great because her love story is actually really fucking boring. Like, I've read that book.
Like, I haven't read that book, but I'm like, you've already kind of set it up. And I know Bennett.
Well, they set it up for the brother too. Like,
but Benedict's story is so good. I read that one. That one's really good.
Okay. Because I love, because I've been watching all I haven't actually watched it yet.
Okay.
But I haven't, it's like, I
haven't said anything.
I just watched it.
I tried to get, so my friend Emily came over today. I think we hadn't seen each other in a while, so she came over, and this is another way I waste time. I made like a coffee cake, and we sat outside and made Elliot mad because we wouldn't play with him. So I made my son go entertain himself. But anyway, she was leaving, and she like picked up a book that I had, and I was like, "Oh, the new Emily Henry book," and she was like, "Oh, I think I've read this." I was like, "What's the newest one?" Like it just came out. Like, I mean,
You're just
maybe she
looking at the
did.
cover. It's fair.
Yeah, I know. She was like, and she picked it up, and she was like, "Oh no, I haven't read this one." And so I gave her that if the shoe fits, and then I tried to give her another like Bridgerton, like far off, like cousin or something book,
Yeah.
one of the far off extensions, and she was like, "No."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Is it too trashy for you?" She's like, I don't do any of the Bridgerton stuff. She's like, well, I mean, I haven't read anything, so I guess that's not fair. It's like, okay. He's like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Go on about your way.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, and like even when he like the two guys are like naked in bed and they're like kissing and playing, and it's just like there's just it's not sexy at all, and it's not because I don't find two attractive men in bed together sexy, because I do. But yeah, it just wasn't
No, I mean they needed intimacy
believable.
coordinators.
And like when they were passionate, it was like the kind of passionate where it's like painful, like
yeah,
really.
I'm gonna bite your lip.
You know, it's like mom talking about the fucking vampire show, like where it's like blah blah blah. They make it out.
I would like to
Okay.
know, do you think I'm more important than a cutlet?
Yes, I do. I don't know. It depends on the cutlet. Yes, you're more important than a
I thought that was
cutlet.
so funny. And then I love that they didn't have a fucking table to eat at Cambridge. Like they're all just like eating on their laps or whatever. I'm thinking they closed all the tables down. I get that it's Michaelmas and
Well, because they were having like private invite only time in the dean's chambers to.
that man needed a table. This is why they invented TV trays.
I
Cambridge needs some fucking TV trays, okay?
They needed
Also,
TV trade, goddammit.
Also, fucking tiny doors. This bullshit. I mean,
I
it
know.
was that tiny door you could kind of almost.
It's so funny because they like show this scene where this guy's got this giant key to unlock this door to let people in and out. But then it's like Hugh Grant comes home and like homeboy's just in his room.
Yeah.
And then he's like climbing through his window. I'm like, the security here is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
Well, I mean, I think 20-something boys are going to do whatever they want to do. It's pretty obvious.
I did start out the first thing I wrote was, oh, good, more white male privilege.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Now, I will say that for men who were so privileged, it really is horrifying to think about homosexuality being illegal for that long. Like,
yeah.
And then being like, well, at least they don't kill you now. It's like, yeah, they don't kill you, but I don't know. Somehow you create.
They do kill you, because didn't that mean it killed Oscar Wilde, didn't it?
You use the Enigma. Well, they put him through hard labor, and that ended up leading.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Like, hard labor will kill you, especially if you.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Gosh, dude. But then it's also the fact that like you lose all of your identity. I mean, you lose everything that holds you up in society.
Protection.
Right. Yeah. And you have the shame of like your entire family is tainted. So like your sisters aren't going to be able to have good marriages and all that shit. But it's like, let's just chemically castrate people. Like that's better, right? That doesn't make them kill themselves. So that's fine. But what was that? There was a line because he asked about it.
England has always been disinclined to accept human nature.
How fucking great is that?
Because he's like, my advice, Italy or France.
Move your gay ass somewhere else.
Yeah, like where it's not illegal anymore. It's like, don't you think England will ever legalize it?
Yeah. Oh, I was going to tell you another weird court thing since the Viscount went to court. I watched The Anatomy of a Fall. And the court case was in France, and they had this weird thing where they wear the robes, okay, and I can't remember whether or not they were wearing the wigs. Maybe some people were, some people weren't. But they had these weird like extra arms that weren't arms. Like imagine if you took an arm off of a robe and then sewed it onto your other robe. So it was like flapping along. And then on the end of it, it looked like it had like rabbit fur. Like, I don't know what that's about, but that's what's going on in France at court. So,
oh Lord,
Hugh Grant is very pretty. He was very beautiful. It was beautifully shot, but to me, it didn't have anything on Saltburn. Like to me, if you just want to watch rich people being decadent, like just watch Saltburn. It's so pretty.
You told me I can't watch Saltburn.
Who told you you can't watch Saltburn?
You told me not to watch Saltburn.
I didn't mean to tell you that.
You told me I couldn't handle it.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you probably. Oh. Hey, Hugh Grant was very cute until he grew that little caterpillar on his face.
Oh my God, I know. Every time they grew the mustache, it's like, what the fuck? Like, oh, we've got to look older. You know what I did really like though?
What was
I
that?
like when he came back from Greece
Yeah.
and he's like, you sound a lot like your brother.
Oh,
Like, I
yeah.
really thought
Like,
he
I
was
have a
gonna marry
cold.
his sister. And like, I mean, I could just fuck you from behind and pretend you're your brother. Like, really thought that's where that was going. Like you look like, and the mom's like, oh, yeah, she has smooths. Like, it's like, I really thought he was gonna marry the sister and just be like, it's good enough.
I'm trying to figure out what the fuck a chisky is.
I don't know. I may have missed that.
Because is it like a claret with a whiskey? Like, what is it? I have read a lot of English literature, romance and classical.
And you're sure that's what they said?
They said chisky. It came up in the subtitles too. So I was like,
Did you
I
Google
tried to look it
it?
up, and I can't find anything about it. Yeah, the main actor is not really a great actor. He has been in some other stuff, but can I tell you how much I want his hair?
His hair?
Gorgeous hair.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
The story of Chisky and the birth of the Percy special.
oh, tell me about it.
Chisky is described. Okay. My wife and I became quite Anglophiles over the last few years. She's actually English. Okay, whatever. One of the ridiculous reads was the Sloane Ranger Handbook, which was a tongue-in-cheek guide to dressing, eating, and socializing like a Sloane, which were described generally as old money urban bourgeoisie living in London's Kensington and Chelsea boroughs in the late 70s and 80s.
Okay.
I think 1970s and 80s. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Drinking like the Sloane. Oh, okay. This says Chisky with no E is not the same as Chisky with an E.
Oh, no. The plot thickens.
I may have been misled. Making a Chisky without an E. God. Sweet cherry brandy masked the whiskey, making the drink incredibly smooth.
Oh, so it's brandy and whiskey together. I bet that's what they had.
The Sloane traditional Chisky is lowland single malt Scotch and Grant's Morella cherry brandy.
Okay. Scotch and brandy.
Yeah, I don't know what a Chisky with an EY is.
Probably Irish whiskey or some shit.
Maybe. Okay.
Hey,
well, there we go.
Just three quick things. Well, I have other things to tell you, but one thing.
Okay.
I'm moving into that boathouse. That is where I'm going to live now, just so you know.
I mean, it was nice from the outside, but did you see, like, the inside's just water, dude? Like,
it wasn't just water. There was a fireplace and a little cot. It looked great. I would have lived there. And then, also, Simcox, the butler, is a nosy little bitch and jealous.
Yes, he is.
To slow his roll.
Yes, he is.
And also, the weird-ass Hitchcockian sex scene. Like, sex, but make it Hitchcock? Like, no. Like, don't do this to people. Like, if they're finally going to have sex, don't make it weird in Hitchcock. Like, I'm not a huge fan. I do remember that you and I went to the British Museum together. And
we did.
We didn't threaten each other, but I did threaten other people.
I don't remember that.
I remember we went in August and it was so crowded and everybody just kept taking up all the space and it made me really mad. So we have that picture of me where I have my backpack on. I'm walking down the halls of the British Museum with both of my arms out, like taking up as much space as possible. And then toward the end, Hugh Grant was being all cute and Hugh Granty. And he said, "What a grotesque announcement." And as soon as he said that, all I could think about was how much better this movie would be if they had the exact same, everything the same, but they replaced Hugh Grant's character with David Rose. That would be so good.
Yeah, when Morris is like, no, let's just be gay together. He'd be like, hard pass. Like,
Yeah.
I have to be a barrister or whatever. I liked
He was an
when
MP. He ran for parliament.
well,
He kept
whatever.
making speeches.
He went to law school though, so
He did.
he did run for parliament. I did like when they were playing cricket and like those women were talking about Scudder.
Scupper,
And they were like, okay, I see what you're saying with a haircut. And I wrote, yeah, with a haircut, cut the mullet. So bad.
they had to find
Such.
some way to set him apart as being common.
I like that scene where like Morris is like sticking his head out in the rain and then Cutter's like, like, fuck. Like, literally wrote, what the fuck? Like,
That was him. Was him falling in love. It was like Romeo and Juliet and shit.
That is not how people fall in love. Like,
You don't know how men from 1900 fall in love?
like with fucking madness. Like,
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it was like like kind of recognizing a bit of unconventionality in each other, a bit of wildness.
hey, you can do that without sounding like a psycho. Like,
Apparently he
could
not.
You know, I mean, that's like when fucking Lizzie B. Bennett's playing with the dogs and, you know, Darcy's looking out the window like, oh, he's not like, like. I mean, I know it's like the characters are very different, but still, like.
I mean, it is a rare case where it is a gay love story set before the 21st century that has a happy ending. So
that's true. I did kind of keep waiting for like the rug to be pulled out. I mean, it did have to have the like, you know, foreboding tale of the Viscount, but that guy was a fucking asshole. Like, I'm sorry.
I mean,
he was an asshole.
He was definitely an asshole. Yes.
That's what he should have gone to jail for.
But I do feel like sex acts between consenting adults.
No, he should have gone to jail for being an asshole, not for who he fucks. Yeah, no.
Especially, I mean, because like as a Viscount, like he probably could have almost killed somebody and gotten away with it. It's just
sticking that at some point, and I was like, well, I guess it's nice to know that there was time when like money couldn't
get you out of everything. Right.
Can't get you out of everything. Yeah. We're waiting to see if that's true in our country.
Yeah, but like to me, you compare this to something like Far From Heaven, the Todd Haynes film, where the whole point of that is like, you know, Dennis Quaid's character can be gay and hide it and get away with it because he's a white man, right?
Yeah.
And then you have his wife who falls in love with the black
man, right?
He's a gardener, I think. And like they cannot be in a relationship together because she is a woman and he is a black man, and they cannot mask that. Like they have no privilege like white male privilege. Like it just doesn't exist for them.
Ain't no privilege like white male privilege. Ain't no privilege like white male privilege.
And I will say, I know that a lot of people rightfully disagree with Dave Chappelle's take on trans. And in many, many, many ways, I also disagree with Dave Chappelle's take on trans. By which I mean, just calm the fuck down. Who cares? Like, people are going to be who they're going to be. Who cares? It doesn't hurt you. Who cares? The part of it that I do agree with, and I don't know if anyone can listen to this, but he said the reason that it bothers him is because it is white men getting to do what they want. And that everybody else had to wait. Everybody else had to wait to be able to do what they wanted. And they had to suffer, and they had to be arrested, and they had to protest, and they had to fight, and they had to go to the Supreme Court, and they had to go through it all. But as soon as white men were like, we want to be women, it was like, no, everybody just has to accept that these are these white men, and they want to be women, and they get to do what they want, and nobody can have a problem with it.
Yeah. Well,
I think it also just happened to coincide at a point where there's another writer that Mom told me about years ago, she heard on NPR, who wrote a book about freedom and equality in America. Equality in America used to just mean white men were equal, kind of, right?
Yeah.
If you look at the Constitution. But over time, generationally, even though we slip, we have pushed and pushed and pushed on that until now, equality in America, we really want it to mean equality for all people. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just a matter of those two things coinciding that has led to the don't make it a big deal. But I can't ignore the fact that, yeah, it's Caitlyn Jenner, right? Caitlyn Jenner is the very first trans person to make a huge splash in this era, right? And that was literally just a white man going, this is what I want to do.
So you would say Caitlyn Jenner made a splash before, and I'm not going to remember her name because I'm a terrible person with names, but the woman from Orange is the New Black?
Laverne Cox?
Yeah, Laverne Cox.
I feel
like those were kind of simultaneous.
Well, they were kind of simultaneous, but I feel like there wasn't a society, like I feel like people could still, I think the blackness of it, you cannot ignore. You cannot.
No, 100%. I'm not saying they were. I mean, because I was going to say, to your point, I think if you look at violence against trans people, that I haven't looked at these numbers, but I would venture to guess that the rates of violence against trans people is going to be higher for trans people of color.
Yes. Oh, certainly.
Than white trans people.
Yes.
So yes, like it is always easier to be white. Like as long as you can be white but as long as you are white, the and is not going to make your life harder than the and would make someone else's life harder.
Right.
So like, yes, it sucks being like it's harder to be a white woman than a white man, but it's still easier to be a white woman than a black woman or a Latino woman or a trans woman.
Right.
That
shit ain't changed.
Right. Yeah, I need that book. So if you could find that title and that author and just send that on over. I looked up Chisky, but
I will do my best to find it.
I did try to Google something the other day. My students were playing some kind of Jeopardy trivia game because we had nothing to do because it was finals week and none of them had to take final. And they did it was called brain rot trivia. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And literally it was just TikTok trivia.
Oh.
So it was all about TikTok stars and famous TikToks that everybody knew about. And but it was a language I did not understand.
Are we going to 0 on that trivia?
I 100% got, I was like, you all might as well be speaking Spanish. I have no idea what any of these words, any of these people, what you're talking about. And it's they all knew. And I Googled one to try to figure out some word. And Google was no, I don't know what, no results. I was like, that is how much bullshit this is. Y'all's bullshit is so much bullshit. Google doesn't even recognize it. I don't care if I sound like an old boomer. I don't care. You do.
I mean, who cares? It's their culture.
I know, but God damn it.
I mean, it's whatever. You think mom and dad were into The Cure? It's just weird to me because it's so pervasive. It's not a niche. It's not a weird little nerdy thing that people.
It's just nothing.
It's not nothing. Some of it has substance. I mean, some of it is helpful. Some of it is giving people information that they need. Some of it is.
Yes.
I refuse to allow you to dismiss all of it.
I will not dismiss all of it. No, I understand that it does serve some purpose. It can be a great way to disseminate certain information, but it can also be a terrible way to disseminate bad information.
It can be, of course, as with Facebook and anything else.
Did I tell you I deleted Facebook from my phone?
Oh, no, good for you.
Yeah, I did it 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay. I do not miss it. I need to delete Instagram. That one's harder.
Yeah.
But I actually get I get benefit from it. The same thing. I find things, I share information, I find out about books, I find out about people, get ideas for my classroom, but Facebook was offering none of that. I don't miss. The only thing I use Facebook for now is that one teacher group where I get resources and materials, and I always had to do that on my computer anyway, so yeah. My washing machine's really mad at me right now.
Oh, you can't hear it.
Okay.
The microphone might be able to, but I can't.
Oh, okay.
I did spend.
So if there's a weird sound, it sounds like I have someone locked in a closet. My washing machine's just mad. It gets really mad really easily.
No, sad.
But it was free, so hey, you know.
Yeah. I worked on my book this week a lot.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I know. I got a friend to agree to do a copy edit for me. So
Nice.
I've got one more editorial, like go through and make sure I actually describe every location so it's not just people standing around in blank space. I think I'm good, but I gotta check.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna try to audio record it so I can find errors more easily. It's when you read something out loud, it's very easy to find the errors. So that'll be exciting. I started an argument on Instagram over which cover to use. So that was also fun.
I responded a little bit. What was the response you got overwhelmingly?
It's about tied between, so we'll see. I'll keep working on it. As we're.
I told Martha that you were working on your book.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is how this conversation came up, how it came up.
Okay.
She said, oh, Ben told me that Elliot wants to marry Everly. So my 4-year-old and his 4-year-old friend, who I'm very good friends with the parents. I was like, oh, yeah, he's saying that. Da, 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 da. And she goes, I kind of like told them how I made a joke about like drawing up contracts or dowries or whatever. She's like, yeah, he's going to need a prenup because he's going to have a lot. Like, kind of serious. Like, she was drunk. And I was like, what? Like, at first I thought she meant like the farm. Because he's like, well, I mean, Heather's going to leave him everything. And I was, what do you think Heather has to leave him? I know she has no children or whatever, but like, what? He goes, well, she makes a lot of money. And I was like, she's a lot of money. I am.
I'm real good at spending money. That's hilarious.
I was like, I mean, maybe. And so then I was like, you know, she is trying to self-publish and get her book sold, so maybe. But then she was like, well, I'm sure she has a life insurance policy. It's like, I don't know. But
yeah, the basic one that the university provides.
That's what I said. I was like, yeah, I think she's got like the basic one through work. But and then she starts talking about how she doesn't believe in life insurance. She doesn't have life insurance. She's like, I have assets and I was like, oh, come here.
She has her own version of reality. And I love that in her version of reality, I'm a rich bitch.
I wish that it was the reality version of reality.
I don't want her reality to be true. I don't like her reality.
No, I don't want her reality to be true either.
So we might have a hometown heist coming up.
Okay.
We'll see.
Do I need to bring my stuff with me to record? No. Okay.
So we're either not going to have anything coming up, or we're going to have hometown heists where sibling friends of ours from Denton talk about movies that were important to them in their childhood, and I'll moderate that discussion.
I mean, I can record one more before I go to Denver.
Okay.
Like while I'm there, and then we could record one when I get back.
Okay. So maybe we'll have some coming up. I don't know what we're going to watch. We'll decide. Not MAURICE.
God, I'm never watching that movie again. 3.5 hours too. Like
it was very long. Yeah.
Oh God. And I didn't start it till late because we took a nap late yesterday and our whole sleep schedule. So like Ellie didn't go to sleep till like 11. I was up till like 2 watching that bullshit.
Sorry.
I love you.
Uh-huh.
Just so you know.
No, Eddie's FaceTiming me.
I don't know.
Hey, thanks. That's it for this episode of I Love You But Pod. Join us next week when we'll talk about something. Somebody will talk about something. Don't know who.
Join us next time.
Join us next time. Whatever that is. Hopefully we made you laugh a little. I'm sure we made you cringe. I don't know. Did we forget something about MAURICE? Was there some big thing that we just didn't talk about?
Do not watch this movie. It's a waste of your time.
What should we talk about in future episodes? We want to know your thoughts. Find us on Instagram and Threads at I Love You But Pod, or email us at iloveyoubutpod@gmail.com. Listener email and comments may turn up in future episodes. We love you guys. We're so glad that you listen. Be sure, if you haven't done it, take a moment to rate, review, and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening. I'm Heather.
I'm Ryan, and I'm going to the pool. I mean, we wish you lots and lots of conditional love.